My name is Mike Jimenez, and this is The Acquired Taste. Hope everyone's having an amazing day today. It is Thursday, joined by one of my best friends, Anthony Pittman. You know him, you love him. Former reporter, former sports anchor at Maximum Sports, KABB, Fox San Antonio. That's how I know you, because you and I worked there together for 5 years.
Yeah, we go way back to 2000.
That is true. We got hired on the same day.
Years ago.
And we've been very good friends, besties ever since, man.
Yeah, I loved you from the beginning, so that's my last compliment for you for the day, though. That's it.
Yeah, don't give him too many, Pitt, because then it's gonna go to his head, man.
That's true.
You do the math. I'm 46 years old. I've literally known you half of my life.
You're 46, but I'm only 41, so something
been a while.
happened
Yeah,
there.
Yeah. You remember me from back in the days when I would have my house parties and I'd have my apartment parties.
You had the best Halloween parties.
They were epic.
They were too good. They were too good.
I mean, if you had movies that had the scenarios that went down at my house or my apartment, no one would believe it.
No, they did have movies like this, like Risky Business and all those movies out of the 80s. I mean, there weren't illegal activities going on, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But it was just like way too much
There's
fun,
been some
man.
discussion here, Pitt. People on Twitter wanting to know, does Michael really have game?
Did I have game back in the day?
Yeah. Did he have game back in the day?
He
Could
did.
I have pulled?
We've talked about this before. No, because you did pull. You were doing really well. He I don't know what it was, if it was just a confidence thing or his willingness to, go through a little self-deprecation, some humor, but he had game. I know I won't call out particular names, but yeah, the response from some of the women, I was like, how is he doing this?
You didn't do so bad yourself back in the day.
I did okay.
Hey, we're live on Facebook.
Yeah.
We're live on Twitter, YouTube, and also we're available on Spotify as well. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button, but also you can leave your comments and we can read them in real time. You can be part of the show that way. We have a lot to get into. Aaron Rodgers showing his commitment to the New York Jets. Packer fans pissed off because of what he did to help out his new team. Sean Payton, speaking of new teams, now the new head coach with the Denver Broncos, and he's ripping the old coach of the Broncos. We'll get into that. Spurs making moves, signed a player, signed another one to a two-way deal. We'll get into that. And an NFL star tried getting Taylor Swift's digits and failed. Lots to get into today.
He got rejected at the rim.
Well, I don't know. Was he even allowed to shoot a shot? He was trying to, but I find this to be very, very
What's
funny.
the rule that you have?
Half plus 7. She satisfies it.
Okay.
They're pretty close.
Half plus 7. Oh, yeah, she's definitely within the...
Well, she's in her 30s. What do people think
They're
that Taylor
they're
Swift
the
is
same
like?
age.
Taylor Swift is like mid-30s by now.
Yeah, she's not 14.
I know.
No.
She came out a long time ago.
Yeah, she's been around.
Love Story was a while back. But again, we have a lot going on here at The Acquired Taste. Before we get into the show, one of the things about it, Pitt, is that you and I used to have this relationship, this friendship where I would say, hey, did you ever watch this show? Or what were you doing last night? And it turns out we were doing the exact same thing. You were doing it at your apartment. I was doing it at my apartment.
Yeah.
And it was the funniest thing. And I thought of you because last night I was watching a movie that I hadn't seen in about 20 years.
Okay.
And I was driving down the street with my wife, and a song came up in my head, and it was so stupid. And it was like, she's long gone, and I'm so blue. And I don't know why I'm driving along singing that over and over again. And then I realized that it actually belonged to a movie that came out on HBO in 1987.
Oh my goodness.
I'll
Okay,
give you the name of the movie.
Yeah,
Just
because you wouldn't tell me before we started the show what this movie is.
So I went back in time. I tried looking it up to see if it's being streamed. No. And then I Wikipedia'd the movie, and it turns out there was an HBO movie. So then I went to Max to kind of see, okay, they have all the HBO movies, and it wasn't there. But I found it last night on YouTube, just plain Jane YouTube, no commercials.
Okay.
I was able to watch the movie Long Gone.
Long Gone. I remember the title, but I don't remember the movie.
It's a baseball movie that starred a very young Dermot Mulroney, an actress by the name of Virginia Madsen, and it takes place in the 1950s. It's a minor league baseball movie. And so I'm watching the movie last night, and I hadn't seen it in 20 years.
Okay.
And it's still very good. it still holds up.
Like legit good or cheesy good?
Better than Big Trouble in Little China?
Big Trouble in Little China's trash.
That is a junk movie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
man.
See, he
That's-
and
you
I
all are
same
friends.
wavelength.
You all are all friends.
Not a
man.
good one.
Same wavelength.
Yeah.
But I saw that movie last night, and again, it's a period piece, so it's back from the 1950s. And after I watched it, I was like, wow, that was actually still pretty good. 1 a.m. So I then get on Wikipedia to find out, is there a Wikipedia page on it? And it turns out, and I ended up tweeting this late last night, that this is actually considered to be a cult classic of a movie, so much so that Sports Illustrated called it one of the best made-for-television movie he had ever seen, and also called it one of the best sports movies that no one has ever seen.
Okay, made for television movies, period, or made for television sports
movies.
Okay, whoever wrote that, complete idiot. Because the number one made for television sports movie, Brian Song.
There you go. Well, he says one of. Okay, so there you go. Bleacher Report says that it's one of the best baseball movies ever done. Newsday said it was one of the best sports movies ever made. And there was a book called The Ultimate Book about sports movies that ranked it in the top 50. And this is a movie that I had not heard of in a while. And it's just so weird because it came to mind. I'm driving along, and that song that one of the players sings just popped up in my head. I was like, I have to watch Long Gone. And I went searching for it, and I found it on YouTube. And it still holds up. There's a little bit of nudity in there, I will let you know. Virginia Madsen, but still, Virginia Madsen in her 20s was remarkable.
The horn dog talk was going to come out.
It was going to come out.
Eventually, naturally comes out there.
Yes. There's a scene about 8 minutes into the movie that, good Lord.
Really?
Good Lord.
Did somebody hit a home run? It was Long Gone.
Long Gone came out back in 1987, man.
Yeah.
Great
movie. And it's funny because you think about the baseball movies from that time. You had Bull Durham, and you had Field of Dreams, and you had those movies. I kind of think
Major League was on the way.
When did Bull Durham come out?
Bull Durham's early 90s, isn't it?
Okay, because
1988.
Okay,
88? Okay,
it's very possible that Bull Durham stole from Long Gone, because there are some parallels to it a little bit. You got the minor league baseball aspect of it all. You've got the love story behind it all, and it's a period piece there. And then there's certain parts about how they want to have an African American player, and how the Deep South wasn't really liking that. And it's a very, very funny movie. It's a good movie. Long Gone. Again, it's not streaming. You got to go to YouTube. Just type up Long Gone movie.
That's easy. That's
good.
It'll
it'll pop up all hour and 45 minutes of it. An HBO movie from 1987.
And the movie that came out before Long Gone was Robert Redford's The Natural. In 1984.
The Natural, a little bit overrated. I saw that the other day. I went back to watch it again. I never liked it growing up. And even now, Wonder Boy can suck it, dude. I'm sorry.
Wait, to the point to where if it's on, you won't complete it.
I just disregard it. Kim Basinger is awful in that movie. It's just, that's not a very good baseball movie.
It's hokey.
It is.
Yeah, I don't put it in my top 10 for sports movies. No.
Matt Larimer reaches out to us on YouTube. Not liking Big Trouble in Little China makes me question your judgment. Well, then you're questioning both of us because that movie's straight up trash. Chris Leha reaches out and says Jimenez is 4 for 4 this week on the horny talk. It's not horny.
4 days and 4 horns.
Exactly.
His horny meter every day when he wakes up has to be at least at an 8 or a 9.
I'm mentioning the fact that the movie Long Gone has some nudity in there, and that
in case the kids are going to be watching?
In case you're watching it with the kiddos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's basically
But I'm just saying on a given day, it's about 8 or 9.
But Virginia Madsen back then. Boing.
My wife watches a lot of movies and mostly series.
Yeah.
Streaming series with tons of nudity. I was like, babe.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen Outlander?
No, I haven't.
Stars?
I haven't.
Oh, my goodness. That's almost a rated X.
Rated,
if they still do rated X.
Rated Twitter, because Twitter has their new logo as the X. Jonathan C. reaches out and says The Sandlot is the greatest baseball movie. The funniest scene about that movie, by the way,
that's good,
is Benny the Jet swimming in jeans. Still can't figure that thing out.
Yeah.
That whole scene. But the woman who played, oh my God, here comes the horniness factor again. The one that was the lifeguard, to this day, Nugget.
Who
To
thinks
this
okay?
day is a nugget.
But who thinks of the Sandlot and thinks of nuggets in it?
Well, I mean, come on, it's Winnie Peppercorn.
See, I didn't remember her name. Okay, have you
The
seen?
fact that I remember that kind of startles me.
Yeah, I'm surprised, and
Horn Dog of 1995 showing right there.
I had no idea that was her name.
Well, that
Completely forgot.
Chris Leha reaches out on YouTube. Cochino, there it is.
Yeah, cochino muy poquito.
Just a little
Cochino.
bit, just a little bit.
And you already got a troll in the chat too. You saw that.
Yeah. And I know that guy is wanting to have his posts pop up there. He's always trolling, but you know what? He's always listening. Because of that, I love you, my man.
Yeah, make sure you hit that like and subscribe.
Hit that like button. In fact, buy us a beer.
I missed it. Was it a good one?
Buy us
Was it
a
a good
beer.
one? Was
No,
he
it
trolling you
wasn't.
hard?
No, it wasn't very good.
What did I just read about a Bo Outlaw? Somebody wrote something about Bo Outlaw. It was there. We go. Wow, I remember when Anthony Pittman.
Okay, so yeah, let's go read that. Tim Gonzalez. Wow, I remember when Anthony Pittman visited John Jay when Bo Outlaw had his John Jay jersey retired.
Oh man,
I was
good
a freshman
memory
at that time. Well, here's the thing. Anthony Pittman is a graduate
I'm
of
a grad
John
of
Jay.
John
High School.
Jay. Yes,
Now, don't get mad, UTSA fans, but I'm wearing a Bobcats shirt
I like that today.
in honor of Anthony Pittman because Anthony Pittman is also a grad of Southwest Texas State University,
yes.
Texas State, aka. I went to Texas State or Southwest Texas State my sophomore and junior year, and I graduated from UTSA. So I have dual allegiances.
Yeah,
there.
you have dual citizenship. Can I tell you very quickly my first school day at Southwest Texas State University way back in the day? Jim Wacker was still the football coach, and I stopped.
Great name, by the way.
Yeah, Wacko. Well, when I first met him in a bathroom, it's a Wacker in a bathroom anyway. But I'm headed to my first class, and I'm super early. Stomach is hurting. I need to go use the restroom. I stop in Strahan Coliseum. And I go in the restroom, standing at the urinal. He comes walking in, and he says, "Good morning, son. It's a good day to be a Bobcat." That was my first day going to a class. I said, "Yes, sir." And I realized who it was. It's like, man, dude was tall. He got me all fired up about going to class. Good day to be a Bobcat.
That's awesome.
I will never forget that.
That's awesome. Urinal stories are kind of weird. For example, I was at a boxing match in Vegas. Went to go see Sugar Shane Mosley. And I'm there taking a leak at MGM Grand and, minding my own business. But it was like one of those, rows of urinals. And my friend just shouts out from behind me, "Hey, Jimenez, you're pissing next to Gary Payton."
Oh,
and
I'm
I'm supposed to take a look to the left or
Did he
right? Or
did he have a glove on?
the glove. I'm like, thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
Okay, last urinal story. I'm sorry about this. Last urinal story. I'm at in Miami doing a Dolphins. It was Christmas night. Dolphins Lions were playing. I don't want to give away his name, but his first name is Joe. He was an announcer, Joe, and his last name rhymes with Heisman. He was doing commentary, I think, for like CBS or ABC radio.
Yeah.
And he rushes into the restroom where I'm standing next to one urinal. He comes into another during halftime. He has a hot dog with a wrapper. And he puts the hot dog wrapper on top of the urinal.
No.
And does his business.
Man,
And then picks it up
dude.
and left and didn't wash his hands either.
That is gross.
Joe Heisman, so
Joe-
I can't be sued.
Exactly. One more urinal story. January 13th of this year, I'm at the Alamo Dome for the Spurs Warriors game. It's the 50th anniversary. And I'm pissing midstream. And this guy comes up to me and goes, "Man, I really like your radio show." And he starts talking to me about it. And I'm midstreaming it the entire time.
No. There's man code, bro.
Yeah. And I had like 40 ounces of Diet Coke. And I was streaming it hard at that point.
Is that really breaking a man code though?
Big time.
He's giving you
Bro,
he can't
gonna
talk
come-
to you in the. So did Jim Wacker break the man code?
No, because he wasn't
it's no
starting.
different.
He wasn't starting a conversation with you. It was more of a,
Kind of like a shout out.
"Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? What's
Well,
up?"
he
dude?"
didn't come selfie you while you were standing there doing your business.
No, he did not.
No.
Hey, real quick, bro.
Hey, man, I like your show. You're over in midstream. Like, bro, come on, man.
Dude,
Heard you met Gary Payton.
I would say that I was probably midstream for about 15 seconds. He talked with me the entire time, dude. The entire time. He even walked with me up to the to go wash my hands at the sink. It was
Oh,
great. It was
man.
great, man. This show's already off the rails. I love
Yeah.
it. Mike Jimenez, Joe Garcia producing today's show. Anthony Pittman
Crazy.
co-piloting today.
Thanks for having me in.
You know, tonight
Appreciate
it's karaoke night over at the bar at Serenity Manor. Go hang out over there. They do karaoke night every other Thursday. They had the first one 2 weeks ago. I was there. I did Bobby Brown, Every Little Step.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you
we
saw
played it
that,
on there.
Pitt. Come on, Pitt.
We played it here. The thing is,
I missed it. Sorry.
so went out there. They're gonna do it every other Thursday. Tonight, SA Curbside Eats will be there, serving up tacos and quesadillas and burgers and all that stuff. It's fantastic. But what makes this karaoke night different is that no one gets drunk there because they only serve beer, wine, and margaritas. The second thing is that people are invited to bring their kids and teenagers there, and the kids and teens can also go karaoke as well. So if you don't know about Serenity Manor, it's one of our sponsors. They're across from Flores Country Store on Old Bandera Road in Helotes. The building was created back in 1913, so it's a historic building out there. It's been renovated some, brought back to life, if you will. They have weddings there, bridal showers, baby showers, quinceañeras, corporate events. I had so much fun over there. We had a lot of listeners out there last time they did karaoke. That's every other Thursday. The second go around is today. Last time they had about 60 to 70 people out there. It was fun. So again, tonight it gets going at 6 o'clock. They go till 10. If a lot of people are in line to sing, they might go to 11. They did that last time. So again, Serenity Manor on Old Bandera Road across from Flores Country Store. Now I got to ask you, we talk about the word catty corner.
It's okay.
Is it catty corner, like a D or a T, or is it like my cousin who says kitty? Is it kitty corner?
It's catty corner.
I really don't know.
I mean, I haven't looked it up. It's probably. I'm gonna guess it's. I don't even know the spelling.
It's catty corner.
I'll still go with
C-A-D-D-Y.
C-A-D-D-Y.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on a website right now that says that there are 3 ways to say it. Catty, C-A-T-T-Y.
Okay.
Kitty, K-I-T-T-Y, which, by the way, if you're a grown-ass man and say kitty corner, I'm looking at you, my cousin Lorenzo. And then the other way to say it is caddy, like Caddy Heron from Mean Girls, right?
What's the spelling on that?
C-A-D-D-Y.
Okay.
Okay, so we joke about this because some people don't even know what catty corner means. And I'm like, diagonal. It's across the street to the left. Diagonal.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, don't forget karaoke tonight, Serenity Manor, the bar. They serve beer, wine. They serve margaritas. 6 p.m. is when they start. Go there thirsty. Go there hungry. They've got food there for you guys. Food trucks, amazing. Have a blast out there tonight.
You've been there more than once?
I've been there twice. I've been there once to kind of tour the facility. They have an indoor venue that's very, very nice. Outdoors, they have an outdoor venue. They've got beach volleyball, like the sand volleyball court out there. And they also have these events.
Playing with the boys.
Playing with the boys. That's a good one. They also have these events where they have all these vendors go out there, kind of like a market day type of stuff. They have market days in Helotes, but they're trying to compete with it in a kind of a weird way. But August 19th and 20th is the next market days over there. And I say it's in a weird way because the thing about it is that when Helotes does it, they do it as a city entity. This company is doing it as like a community event. And you can have, you can be a vendor yourself if you sell food or if you have arts and crafts or anything like that. The next event's going to be August 19th and 20th. So if you want to take part, reach out to Serenity Manor out there in Helotes.
Let me know the next time you go do karaoke.
Yeah.
The wifey and I will go with you.
And it's cool. It's a cool vibe because you and I have gone to karaoke place before where everybody's drunk.
Yeah.
And this is a place where everyone's just chill.
I looked
chill.
up photos and it looks really nice. And with the wine going, I can get the wife to go too. So
she
loves a nice glass of wine.
We have a comment here for you, Pitt.
What's that?
It says, Tim Gonzalez, he says, Anthony Pittman, do you remember where were you when Chris hit that game-winning shot at the buzzer to win state?
I was in the newsroom watching it. And my good friend, Randy McElroy, was on the call for Fox Sports Net. Randy and I used to work together in Beaumont. I'll never forget that. Made the call.
Yeah, that was a cross-court shot, right?
It was a half-court shot.
Yeah.
A couple of steps in front of half court. It was all chaotic to that moment. No timeout. Last bucket. Chris Ross nailed it, killed it, and then had a great career in the Philippines.
Really?
Oh, massive career in the Philippines.
Interesting.
Made good money. He was a star in the Philippines.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Joined by Anthony Pittman. You remember him from Maximum Sports. You remember him from Fox 29 KABB. Might remember me too, because I was reporter and producer back in the day when you were out there from 2000 to 2005. For me, you were there to like 2010 or so.
Yeah, I was 2010.
NFL camps are underway right now. Lots of excitement when it comes to it. I saw that Dak Prescott is in midseason form already. He threw a pass that went off the receiver's fingertips and it got intercepted in practice yesterday.
Already throwing interceptions.
Already happening.
Was it his fault? Should it have been caught? If it's off the fingers, it should be caught, right?
That's the way it always happens for the Cowboys, man. He led the league in interceptions last year, but that's the way that it happens. Now, here's the thing about it. Got to talk about the quarterbacks because Aaron Rodgers, what he did, I am surprised by, pleasantly surprised by, because Aaron Rodgers has decided to take a pay cut. He signed a brand new 2-year deal with the New York Jets for $75 million, paying him $37.5 a year. That's a pay cut there, big time, because he was making over 50.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to save the Jets $35 million. Rodgers says, please use this money to build me a winner. Use this money because we got a 2-year window before I retire. Let's go get that ring. Are you surprised that Rodgers did this, A? And B, do you think other quarterbacks should do the same?
One of my surprise, yes. Not to say I know Aaron Rodgers and his mentality. I'm just like anyone else who follows him online and listens to the interviews, and I wouldn't have expected him to give up such a huge chunk of change. He seemed to be about himself and his own contract and not really caring so much about giving up so much money to bring in like 2 solid, like really, really good players with that kind of money. So I'm surprised he gave it up. But there seems to be a different Aaron Rodgers since he came out of the darkness and landed in New York.
He seems happy.
He seems happy. He seems willing to, well, obviously he's working earlier than normal, attending camps when he didn't have to, trying to work with the young receivers, trying to get to know folks. There just seems to be a different Aaron Rodgers. And maybe it's an Aaron Rodgers who's just trying to prove to the Packers, you should have done whatever to keep me.
Right. Now, the person who might
Scorched
benefit
earth
from all this is Zach Wilson, the backup quarterback. I bet you he has a renaissance in his career because he gets to hang around Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years. Zach Wilson was not ready to be a starting quarterback. I don't care how high in the draft he went out there. The fact that he gets to be there, because you know what? All it takes is an ankle injury, a wrist injury, and all of a sudden Zach Wilson is thrust back into the starting lineup. I think Aaron Rodgers being there is big, short-term and long-term. But one of the players that he could go out, that the Jets could go out and get, is actually visiting this weekend.
Who's that?
Dalvin Cook is visiting the Jets this weekend. Camp is underway. Dalvin Cook is a free agent, got shown the door by the Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook is somebody that for the last 5 or 6 years has been considered to be one of the 5 to 10 best running backs in the league. A lot of people say, well, yeah, he's kind of on a decline now, but he still might have some tread on the tires. Your thoughts on maybe a Dalvin Cook type of signing for the Jets?
I think he has a lot of tread on the tires. I thought for a while he was just too injury prone until I looked up the numbers. He played through injuries.
Right.
He's on the injured list every week, but he plays through a horrible shoulder he's been carrying for a few years. I think he'd be an incredible addition. Breece Hall isn't ready to go yet.
Right.
And even if he is, I don't quite trust coming off the knee injury he had so quickly
We saw
mentally
that with
to be able to run.
We saw that with Tony Pollard for the Dallas Cowboys. It takes a little while to kind of get back into it, get your feet under you. Last season, Dalvin Cook, 264 touches for 1,173 yards. That's a 4.4 average. Not bad.
Yeah.
4.4 is not that bad. Though in prior years, he had been around 5 yards per carry. He had 8 touchdowns, also had 39 receptions. You add him to a team that has Breece Hall, that has Garrett Wilson, that has Alan Lazard, that has McCole Hardman, Corey Davis, Randall Cobb. This is a legit team out there. But the problem with the Jets, their schedule sucks.
The first half.
The back half of the schedule. So look at the first 8 games here. Buffalo Bills, home against the Bills.
Home against the Bills?
Yes. on a Monday Night Football, September 11th.
Home against the Bills, I'm going to give them a win.
On the road against the Cowboys.
They lose.
Home against the Pats.
They win.
Home against the Chiefs.
They lose.
On the road against the Denver Broncos.
They win.
Home against the Eagles.
They lose.
On the road against the Giants.
They lose.
And then home against the Chargers.
They win.
If
it's a 500 season up to that point.
If
roughly.
they go 4-4, then they are a legit team. But I'm looking at that schedule there: Buffalo, Dallas, New England, Kansas City, Denver, Philadelphia, Giants, Chargers. That is murderer's row.
It is. Now I'm calling it a 500 at that point, but that 500 could easily be only 2 wins.
And then after that, they've got Buffalo and Miami, and then they got Atlanta.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh
again.
my goodness, man! This is a tough schedule for them to go. I think that the best case scenario is the Jets win 10 games. If they win 11 or 12 games this season, you know that they are Super Bowl contenders at that point. But their schedule is so difficult this year that I don't know. I mean, I'm cheering for Rodgers for some respect, but at the same time, that's rough, man. When you have 2 out of 3 weeks, the Chiefs and the Eagles, and then you have the Cowboys defense and Buffalo. Good God, man! The first 10 games of the season.
Historically, though, when you go through a schedule and you count wins and losses, a couple of those teams are going to turn out to be not as good as you think.
Right.
So, but then again, a couple of them will be better than you think.
That's exactly it. That's the way the NFL works. Hey, we already have a fantasy question coming in. Just to let you know, the Fantasy Gods makes its premiere on August 6th. Brandon Big Poppy Medina will be our lead host for that show.
Yeah.
Fantasy question. You can only keep 2. Josh Jacobs, Tyreek Hill, or CeeDee Lamb for PPR league. Well, it depends if it is
Get rid of Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that's the one I would go with.
Keep the 2 receivers.
That's the thing.
You got to play on that receivers who have the better chance of being healthy.
Well, beyond that, when you and I first started doing fantasy football together 23 years ago, it was all about the running game. You had the Sean Alexanders of the world, the Terrell Davises. You had the LaDainian Tomlinsons, and they would take you to a fantasy championship. Priest Holmes was another one back in the day. Curtis Martin.
Oh, your guy, Curtis Martin.
Every
10
year.
points at least. Every game. Every game, guaranteed 10 points.
Exactly. Just
anyway.
Mark it down.
We got some comments here that's pretty funny, man.
But the thing about it is, I'll get to that one in a second. But the thing is that fantasy football has changed. Wide receivers, in my eyes, are more important than running backs. And it's not only that way in just fantasy, but it's also on the actual field in real life, because you see these running backs who are not getting any love. Dalvin Cook did not want to have the franchise tag at $10.1 million. Tony Pollard was not signed to a long-term deal. You saw Saquon Barkley complain about being offered the franchise tag. He ends up getting a bit of a raise, a $2 million signing bonus, and a 1-year, $11 million deal. But it's not only just fantasy, but in real life, running backs are not shown much love anymore.
Very, very true. And I don't know what's going to happen for the running back position to be more valued again in the NFL. Maybe it just won't be.
They're screwed.
Maybe it's just going to be a hybrid running back / wide receiver, or wide receiver / running back that's going to basically man the running back position. But in fantasy football, what's killing the running back is the 1, 2, 3, 4 yard touchdown pass. Like, the quarterback gets inside the 5-yard line, the running back just doesn't get the ball enough anymore.
It's Tom Brady kind of started that a lot, where the pass was actually part of the run game, where, the slant to Edelman, to players that were in the slot, those were actual run plays.
Yeah. A lot of the West Coast offenses
it counted
like
as a pass.
Long handoffs. Yeah.
It counted as a pass, but it's just another way of doing the run. Lots of people reaching out. Chris Layhouse saying that Jimenez doesn't believe in bro code, I thought.
And we have a rebuttal to that too. It was by Bear County Social Apparel. I'll show that on the screen right here.
Jimenez is a habitual bro code breaker. Yeah, but you know what? But of bro code, we talked about whether or not I had game. I was actually a very good wingman back in the day.
You were a good wingman. But I think we were all wingmen.
Yes, but some of us would jump on the grenade, but I wouldn't.
See, I wish you'd have told me this in advance. I guess this was organic. We didn't plan this.
Yeah.
I would like to just go through the memory banks.
Oh,
and I could
man.
probably write down
Even Jeff's getting in on this, man.
locations and, people.
Fox and Hound, whiskeys.
Yes. What was the
Dad's karaoke?
What was the little place? Rookies.
Rookies.
Yeah, I remember.
Dude, I mean, we worked at a TV station where there were 2 bars within walking distance of
True.
the back door.
We would walk.
We'd walk over there.
We got a comment here by Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia, Moneybags. Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 saying bro code is sacred. I get that, but sometimes don't you age out of bro code?
The 10-gallon hat is sacred right there.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the top hat.
Oh, top hat. Yes, not 10-gallon top hat.
So, I mean, bro code is bro code until, like, dude, grow up. Grow up, Peter Pan. What was that? The Hangover?
Well, but do you ever really grow up and out of the bro code?
Well, at some point.
I mean, like, do you grow out of being a snitch?
There you go. Now, there's certain parts of bro code that I will still abide to, but I probably won't do 100% bro code. Chris Lehau reaches out, says there are 10 commandments of bro code. Jimenez has probably broken all 10.
You're not exactly the Moses of the bro code. You're not coming off Mount Sinai with these tablets on bro codes.
Here are the 20 commandments. Crash.
Here are the Here are the 10 commandments. You're not coming down off the mount with the bro code etched in stone. These tablets are for you to follow. No, that's not you. Shut up. Take off your top.
Take off your top. Wow. That's an old saying that I had many, many years ago. Thank you for reviving that one.
I saw something about the Big 12. What do we see there?
Oh, here it is. Chris, it was Tim Gonzalez. He says, surprised that Colorado leaving the Pac-12 for the Big 12 and Arizona possibly might join the Big 12 too. Anthony Pittman.
Okay, so if you don't know that, so back in 2010, I believe it was like 2009, 2010, Colorado went from the Big 12 to the Pac-12. There for 12, 13 years, did nothing.
Yeah, did squat.
Is now trying to come back to the Big 12 after this season because the TV deal for the Pac-12 wraps up. They can actually make their move without any penalties.
It would be a good idea for Colorado.
It would be.
If Deion can turn them around, it'd be a very good idea.
Yeah.
Pac-12's tough.
And
they could benefit from a little lighter schedule.
And I think that Deion can benefit from being able to recruit more in Texas.
Oh, he killed Texas.
Because he'd have a Big 12 connection to it. You can say, hey, if you want to watch Texas Tech, if you want to watch Baylor, all these other schools in Texas, you can still, your family can still see them in Lubbock and in Waco. Just come to Boulder.
Yeah.
Come hang out.
I like the idea.
It is a smart move for them. Real fast about the NFL. Saw a story this morning about Sean Payton. I'm a Sean Payton guy because the Saints are my favorite team.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, now the new head coach with the Denver Broncos. He did something that I've never seen another coach do, or at least it's been a while. He ripped the predecessor, Nathaniel Hackett, who, by the way, is now the offensive coordinator for the Jets with Aaron Rodgers.
I thought he broke a coach's code.
That's a coach's code right there, because Sean Payton was interviewed by the USA Today and came out and said that Nathaniel Hackett did the worst coaching job he has seen in 20 years, saying that the coaches did a crappy job, that Russell Wilson has not lost it. It's because the coaching was so bad they couldn't get plays in. There was no discipline on the offensive line. And he was saying that everything that happened wrong last year was not about Russell Wilson. It was about Nathaniel Hackett. Blame him. Blame the person I'm replacing.
He basically said it was about the organization being bad parents.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great analogy, because when you take a step back and you look at what happened there last year and you break it down, the organization were bad parents. It's horrible leadership. Lack of good game plans, horrible talent. He's right, but whoever speaks out, do you say it? Historically, no.
Okay, part of me is thinking,
but Sean Payton's a little different. His cloth is cut a little different.
Okay, so Sean Payton is an interesting cat, man, because one of the stories that I love, I saw a TikTok from Reggie Bush. I saw this a couple weeks ago. No,
okay.
no. It was Reggie Bush reminiscing about the times when he was at USC and how he was supposed to go number 1 overall in the draft to the Houston Texans, and then the Texans surprised everybody.
DeMarco.
By getting somebody else. Who did they get?
The defensive end, right? DeMarco something, or
they got a different player. Mario Williams. They got Mario Williams. And at that point, he says that he was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
That Reggie Bush says he was surprised that he wasn't going to Houston and that it just caught him off guard. And then the Saints are up and the Saints are calling him saying, "Hey, we're going to take you at number 2." And he goes, "I don't want to go to you guys. I would much rather go to number 3 or 4, whatever city, whatever team that is." And then Sean Payton got on the line and cussed him out. And Reggie Bush quoted him by saying, "You effing blah, 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 blah. We're taking you and your ass is going to be in camp in August and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear anything from you." And hung up the phone. And Reggie Bush was like, "I guess I'm a Saint."
Wow.
So now you see what happens with Russell Wilson, how he was able to have his entourage over there, have his own office and all of this stuff.
Bad parents.
Sean Payton goes in there and goes, "This is all gone."
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about discipline with Sean Payton. It's also a little bit about cheating, head hunting and things like that. I understand. I'm a Saints fan. I can admit that happened. But he's going in there with a Bill Parcells type of mentality, with a Ryan mentality, just going over there and just trying to clean up a mess.
Well, the word always when he was in New Orleans was when you walked in the building, you knew who was in control.
Right.
And that was a problem that they had in Denver. You didn't know who was in control. That's a problem in a lot of organizations. You don't know who's really running the organization. And in New Orleans, everyone knew it began and ended with Sean Payton. And not necessarily Tom Benson writing checks,
Mm-hmm.
You do your thing. You be you. You run this show for us. And that's obviously what he wants to do in Denver.
And I think he's trying to have a clean slate for Russell Wilson, because everyone's looking at Russell Wilson thinking that he's washed up. Because I understand that you might have an offensive line that is decimated or undisciplined, but we never see a quarterback play as poorly as Russell Wilson did last year.
You told me last year before the season that Russell Wilson was washed.
I did. And no one believed me.
I didn't. I hated when his season was unfolding and he was just unraveling. I was like, dang it, Jimenez is right.
That decline,
with his bad bro code, he was right.
That decline happened in Seattle, and I was seeing that decline.
I didn't see it in Seattle.
And he looked off. He looked old. Do you know what he looked like? He looked like he didn't give a damn. He looked like he was just going through the motions and collecting a check.
Let's take it to what he does off the field, which is too much. And he has too much of the look at me attitude.
Yeah.
Everything he does has to be shot by his little mini documentary crew.
Mm-hmm.
He's worried about having an office in the stadium. There's all of that stuff that just gets in the way. And maybe Sean Payton can see, you're not having that here. You're getting back to playing football. And maybe he can turn back the clock some.
Josh Jimenez reaches out and says, "So if the Broncos finish behind the Chiefs and Chargers, does that make Sean Payton a bad parent too?" Well, I mean, first of all, you're not going to compare any team to the Chiefs.
It's the way you play.
Right.
They were a mess last year. So if he cleans that up, I mean, they're going to finish at least third. They're not finishing. Well, they're not finishing ahead of KC.
No one's finishing ahead of KC. Although Ace says, "Don't forget, Bronco Nation. That's right."
After every loss, let's ride.
Right. I'm like, Russ, stop, man. I don't even care so much about the Broncos, but you're making me really nauseous.
Now, the other cringy story.
You're corny.
The other cringy story, Pitt, was when he was saying when the whole team was asleep on the plane, he was working out.
He was doing the leg lifts.
Yeah, man.
Oh, gosh. And you're not supposed to be jumping up and down in a plane. Didn't you see that Seinfeld episode? That's how they, had to go down in New England somewhere. You probably didn't see the last episodes of Seinfeld.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Because Kramer was jumping up and down on the plane.
Yeah.
Hey, Vince Trevino was also asking, we're going to be at Cowboys camp. We might have a correspondent because our boy Fernandez is going to make an appearance out there.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
so we'll have somebody there, boots on the ground.
Oh man, I mean,
Let's go to Cowboys camp next year.
Cowboy camp over in Oxnard, California. I have family over there in LA. It is what it is. I've been to camps before. You've been to camps before, and it's contrived sometimes. It's so controlled as to what you can do. Really, you're just going there just to kind of interview fans for the most part, and then you get the assembly line of the coach and the owner and a couple of players that come through. But don't ask us this. Don't ask us that. It's like everything is censored about what you can and cannot ask. And then you're like, okay, you got 3 minutes, and you got 5 minutes.
When I worked at the Fox here, as you did, the goal going to camp was come back with 75 feature stories.
Wow.
Oh, by the way,
basically it was like just come back with a bunch of junk that you can just keep using over and over and over as if you're fooling the viewer.
I just realized it was you that I got drunk with Jerry Jones.
He's going back to this.
Yeah, it's when you were eating dinner
at Bohannon's. No,
Ruth's
Chris.
I told that story on air, but I didn't say who I was with.
Yes,
I was with you and Jack and Jack.
Yes,
Green.
Yes, maybe we shouldn't say his name, but
Okay, so for
too
those
too late now.
So we were at Cowboy Camp at the Alamo Dome.
Yep,
many years ago, and they had one of their PR guys come out, one of their media relations guys come out and say, Michael Jimenez, Anthony Pittman, and they named somebody else, and they said, please come up here. We thought we were in trouble, and they're like, Mr. Jones, Jerry Jones has saw your stories yesterday. Thought you did a fantastic job covering Dallas Cowboy Camp. We would like to reward you guys for such good work in covering our team. We would like to invite you to a dinner tonight. And
I remember
we went to Ruth's Chris, and we thought that Jerry Jones was going to come up for like 5 seconds and say hi, but Jerry Jones never left, and the bourbon and the Guinness was flowing.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'll never forget that. And then Jerry Jones comes up to me and goes, I take it you're a Cowboy fan. And I'm like, no, man, I don't cheer for the Cowboys. And he goes, well, I want to welcome you to Cowboy Nation. And I'm like, no, I'm good.
But he knows how to work it, though.
Yeah.
I do remember that night. And I remember a story that I did that Jerry liked, that he told me he liked. It was on Richmond Flowers Jr. He was a receiver on the team just for that camp. He was out of Tennessee, I think it was. But Richmond Flowers, and whose grandfather was a civil rights lawyer in Mississippi or Alabama way back in the day. And that family took a lot of heat for civil rights, standing up for civil rights. And I had a chance to get 5 minutes with Jerry Jones because he knew the grandfather. So there was a connection there.
Yeah, and I did a story probably about the fans and all the money that they were spending. But I also took part in a media flag football game. And Daryl Johnson was my head coach.
I remember
for that game.
You got a 90-yard pick.
I had a pick six.
and
you all made so much fun of me because my ass was running down the Alamo Dome turf all the way the other direction.
Yeah, you were not Stephon Diggs. You were not Trayvon Diggs. Excuse me. Stephon's in Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
So you weren't the Cowboys Diggs at all. You were waddling a little, getting down.
He needed oxygen.
But he had better speed then, so it was just a couple of pounds ago.
I was 50 pounds lighter back in the day.
Check this out, Pitt. Rudolph Gonzalez says, I saw Anthony at HEB yesterday. I was wondering why I recognized this dude.
The HEB over at the Alon Shopping Center, right?
That's probably what he's referring to.
Let me know. Yeah, was with my wife. We worked out. We went to Hardburger Park to fly a kite with no wind. She needed. She's doing a scavenger hunt. She needed a photo of her flying a kite.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So we went to Hardburger Park, then we went to HEB to get a SoFlo pizza to go.
Nice.
Big pizza for $9. I wish you'd have said hello.
Harry reaches out on YouTube, says the power of YouTube. On the computer, I have Locked On Spurs with Mike J and the Acquired Taste with Mike J on at the same time. That's right. I am today's guest on Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. Don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs. I subscribe on Spotify and on YouTube as well. So if I'm driving out and about and I want to get my Spurs info, I can get on Spotify. If I'm at home or just chilling out at some waiting room, I can call up YouTube and watch Locked On Spurs through the YouTube channel. So
good idea.
You can watch it either. You can watch it or listen to it. Now, speaking of Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, again, don't forget to subscribe. He's also on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone and on Threads at Jeff G Kens 5 SA. But lots going on with the Spurs right now. Spurs signed City Sissoko a 3-year deal. The Spurs got him in the second round. Found that to be very interesting that they signed him to a deal as opposed to a two-way contract. Spurs now have 18 players on the roster, and between now and also signed Dominic Barlow to a two-way deal. Dominic Barlow, Joe, you know this, man. Barlow looked good in the Las Vegas Summer League. That guy was balling, averaging like 18 points per game on 60% shooting. The guy was a stud in the Summer League. I'm glad to see him be part of this team. And again, the Spurs need to waive 3 players. Jeff and I were talking about this, and I was saying, you know, I'm going to be interested in seeing who the Spurs waive. Because if they waive a young guy, it tells me they're going to go in a different direction. If they waive the vets, it tells me that they're going to go in a youth movement, and maybe that rebuild might last a little bit longer. But again, the Spurs have until October 23rd to make their cuts. And I was on Tankathon earlier this morning, one of my favorite websites that kind of does mock drafts and things like that. The Spurs might have up to 3 first-round draft picks this year. They already have 3 in 2025.
Okay.
This upcoming year, they might have 3. The Spurs are projected, according to Tankathon, to have the 7th worst record in the league and therefore would be around the 7th pick. But they believe that Toronto would have the 6th worst record in the league and the Spurs would get their pick as well. So according to Tankathon, as of now, before the season starts, they have the Spurs drafted at number 6 and 7. And Tankathon believes that the Spurs are going to lose the first-round draft pick that we got from Charlotte. I believe that was part of the DeJounte Murray trade. So Atlanta had Charlotte's first-round pick and sent that pick to the Spurs, but it was heavily protected. It's top 16 protected this year, top 14 protected this year. And what that means is that if Charlotte makes the playoffs, we get their first rounder. If they don't make the playoffs, they keep it, and we end up only getting second rounders from Charlotte instead.
If the Spurs were to be right around or having right around the 7th worst record in the league, how many wins is that roughly?
That's roughly about 30 wins.
It's not even close to the playoffs then.
No, you need about...
Because it would be interesting if they were still in a good position to have good draft picks, but still have an outside chance to be in the playoffs.
You need, I think, 37, 38 wins to kind of flirt with the play-in.
Yeah.
But I think in order for you to really solidify a position in the play-in, you're going to have to at least have it closer to 40, 41.
So again, this year, the Spurs have their own first-round draft pick. We have Toronto's as well. That one is lightly protected. We have Charlotte's. That one is heavy. It's heavier protected, if you will. In 2025, we have our own. We have Atlanta's as part of the DeJounte trade, and we also have Chicago's as part of the DeMar DeRozan trade. So it's amazing all the draft capital the Spurs have there. But I would love to see that Charlotte pick manifest itself into a first-rounder. But I'm not sure if it is. But again, go ahead and follow Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 for your Spurs coverage. Now, one of the things that we were talking about that I want to talk about, we didn't really get much into it, but I was thinking about it. Jaylen Brown earlier this week signed the biggest deal in NBA history.
Yeah.
5 years, over $300 million. It's going to start off at $52 million in year 1. Then it's going to balloon to $69 million come year 5. Fast forward 4 seasons from now. Victor Wembanyama, let's say that he is offered a supermax by the Spurs and that he's eligible to get the supermax. Can you picture the Spurs paying a player $80 million? Because that's probably what it would take to keep a player like that, because the CBA keeps growing and growing and growing.
Can I picture it happening? Yes. I mean, it will happen with some team. So the Spurs have the goods, have the man. So I see the 80 million plus contract per year.
That's crazy. And right now, the Spurs' highest paid player is at 20 million, which is Keldon Johnson.
Well, the big mind blower is how long will it be before it's 100 million in a season for someone?
And who would be that guy?
It's going to happen. I'm not too sure. I don't know if we know who that guy is right now.
We have a lot to get into today. You know, you're thinking about the who's going to be that guy. it's probably somebody still in the league right now who's young.
Has to be very young.
Maybe a Luka Doncic type of player, somebody in their early 20s. I don't think it's a John Morant. I don't think it's a Zion Williamson. It might be Wemby for all we know.
I was going to say it has to be someone who's 18, 19, 20.
Spurs right now, up to 3 first-rounders this year, 3 already for next year. Spurs have so many draft picks in the next 5 seasons or so many different swaps along the way. Absolutely ridiculous what's going on with the Spurs, but it's a good thing. I think the rebuild's over. I think the Spurs are going to go out there and try to win this year. I don't think they're going to try to get a good draft pick. I don't think they're going to tank this year. I think they're going to roll the ball out there, see what they got, and if they're 500 midway through the season, start making moves.
No, I agree with you. They have to play, or they will play. They're going to play to win, obviously, and they're going to play hard. There won't be a tank mentality at all. And as you said, the rebuild is over, but the rebuild kind of will continue, obviously, because they can try all they want, and they're only going to, manage X amount of wins and probably not be in the playoffs. So the rebuild continues, but with such a good head of steam and a positive mentality about winning.
I'm excited as a Spurs fan.
I think every Spurs
for the first time in a long time. We're going to about 1:15. Again, if you're listening to us in the future, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Let's filibuster.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening, by the way. Subscribe to us on Spotify. We try to make this a type of show where it doesn't matter what time you're listening. You could be at home, mowing the yard at 7 p.m. and still get a lot out of this show because we don't necessarily date what we're doing. Again, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on Spotify as well. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Cynthia J. Sanchez of JPAR Real Estate. Cynthia is my personal realtor. She's been in the business for 16 years. We have her number there, 210-273-0748. Here's the thing. She is a full-time realtor in the business. She's successful at what she does. When people get into real estate, Pitt, 5 years, most of them just burn out, either because they're not making enough money.
So much pressure on it.
They don't know how to run a business.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
And you have to be willing to start slow.
Yes. It's like me in finance. It's the first 5 years, 80% of us just burn out and get out of the business, and only maybe 5% survive year 10. I've been doing finance for 17 years. I'm self-employed. Cynthia J. Sanchez has been doing real estate for 16 years, and she's out there hustling her ass off, working with those in the military community. She works well with people who are faith-based as well, just looking for the right home at the right price and doing it what's right for you. It's not about selling the house. It's about selling the right house. And again, right now, we're in a high interest rate environment. She told me she sold a house 2 weeks ago at a 4.2% interest rate because some of her home builders that she knows are actually doing internal financing right now. Very, very cool. JPAR Real Estate, Cynthia J. Sanchez, 210-273-0748. I actually am giving a referral to her today. One of the listeners of our show was saying, hey, looking at buying a house. Maybe I'll reach out to Cynthia J. Sanchez. Maybe. No. Do it.
Do it.
Do it. The number is right there, 210-273-0748.
She'll work hard for you and work the deal for you, because you don't have to have the Brinks truck to back in.
Exactly.
A lot of times folks think I have to have loads and loads and loads.
Yeah, you don't need 20% down. You don't need 10% down. I mean, just a smaller amount can get the job done. Just make it happen.
Yeah. Don't forget the nice warranty she includes as well.
That's right. She does have a nice warranty in there. So if you buy a home through her, this is a big deal. Water heater breaks down, AC breaks down, anything like that goes wear and tear, electrical in nature. She gets a 1-year warranty. It's a value of $600 for something like that, which is a really big deal. Cynthia J. Sanchez, 210-273-0748. And also, if you're looking for those Airbnb type of investment properties or rentals, condos, things like that, she's your girl. Cynthia J. Sanchez, 210-273-0748. Hey, don't be shy. Buy us a beer.
Of course.
Buy us a beer. Joe, explain what this is, my man.
Yeah, if you like what we're doing, you enjoy, me and Mike's shenanigans here on the show, give us a tip. And show your support. Go ahead and buy us a beer. They started, full disclosure, they started $5. You can buy us 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers. Somebody's even bought us, I think, was it 4 beers at a time, 5 beers at a time?
We've had a lot of people who've reached out to us. Believe it or not, and I'll be honest with you, The first time I saw Buy Us a Beer was when I was watching the Mike Taylor show. Mike Taylor is also a friend of this show. He's been on our show before, and he's been very, very nice to me about this particular program. So I know he follows along. I follow his show as well.
Yeah, so
but I noticed that he had the Buy Me a Beer, and I was like, what is that?
It was Buy Me a Coffee. Yeah,
Buy Me a Coffee.
Yeah.
Buy me coffee. Just
it's the same thing.
Give us a beer.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had people like Miguel Vela, Charlie Hernandez, Renee Miller. Wait, Renee Miller's one of the ones who's bought a beer. Renee Miller, the one that comes and trolls, he bought a beer. Jason Garcia, Chris Leha, Chris Moreno, Mema Rodriguez, guy named that goes by Ramin Cole, guy that goes by Simple Vic have all bought us a beer in the past. You just hit the QR code. It's basically saying that you want to sponsor our show $5 at a time. It keeps the lights on, and these ring lights are pretty nice. Look at this. We added since the last time you were here. We added another monitor up here that's counting us down.
I saw that.
I told Joe that this place is looking like an airport terminal at some point.
He says all the monitors that are around here.
Let's get some
Big Brother is watching.
That's right. Let's get some pop culture news in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, before we do that, we got to go ahead and have the intro, man.
Look at the animation.
Nice.
Maybe this is a little bit too peppy of a song to talk about the fact that Sinead O'Connor has passed away.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Okay, so Sinead O'Connor passed away at the age of 56. Very controversial figure in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
She had a huge hit, Nothing Compares to You, which, by the way, was written by Prince. On top of that, the iconic music video that's black and white, where it's just fixated on her face, and in the middle of the song, she starts tearing up.
The tear.
Iconic. Okay, I'm not going to say that I'm a Sinead O'Connor fan. I liked that song, especially considering the fact that Prince wrote it. But you cannot deny the fact that that is a moment in time in 1990s music history that will live on forever.
Because Simple was the best for that particular video. No one knew who she was. Right. So you're introduced not only to her. She has I'm going to say in present, has a great voice. And no one knew what she looked like. So you just got her face for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I just thought it was brilliant. It's just well done, well written song by Prince. The first line, it's been
7 hours and 15 days.
7 hours and 15 days since you took your love away. That's such a heavyweight line. He recorded it first. Also, it went nowhere.
Yeah.
And he was big enough to know someone else could do something with that song.
Prince is the best. Good. And for Sinead O'Connor to take this, have the shaved head and everything. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't know how she passed away. And what I hate about it is whenever celebrities pass away, there's always people who are trying to guess what it is. And then I don't care,
It's speculation. Everyone does it.
Yeah. Well, TMZ came up with the story and update, and basically they just said that she died inside her London home. They found her there. They tried to revive her. She was unresponsive and she passed on, but they said they don't suspect any foul play. And really, they didn't speculate on anything. They just said there's going to be an autopsy performed. And that was about the gist of the story. So it was kind of classy for TMZ not to speculate and to go out on these tangents looking for these headlines.
Which would be easy to do because she has led a troubled life in the past 15, 20 years. I mean, she spoke openly about mental health issues because she's had them. She was diagnosed as bipolar and something else. And I'm just forgetting the legal term for it. She's very vocal about it. She would always take a stance. She was headbutting with the entertainment industry because she just wanted to be herself and she didn't want to be a product of the industry. I loved her stances.
She won a Grammy Award back in 1991 for Best Alternative Music Performance for the song Nothing Compares to You.
I don't think she went to the Grammys that year.
No, she boycotted
it.
Now, one of the things about it is right when she was at her peak, at her highest of powers,
SNL.
She goes on Saturday Night Live and she rips a photo of Pope John Paul II and says, "Fight the real enemy." And at that point, there was just outrage towards her and the boycotts of her. And I don't want to go back in time because I don't want to say that she knows what was going on back in the day because we saw what happened to the Catholic Church years later when it came to the sex abuse scandals.
Yeah, it came to light.
I don't know what she was referring to. Was she referring to that?
She was.
Okay.
And years later, we found out that's what she was referring to.
Okay. That I didn't know. And maybe she was ahead of her time when it comes to that. But even still, it was a stance that killed her career. It was a stance that took her off of TV. And we've seen this over the years when it comes to certain musicians where they get blackballed or they get shown the door. The Dixie Chicks were one. Also, when they took a stand against George W. Bush during the Iraq War back in the day. It happens on both sides. Cancel culture is not only a leftist thing, it's a righty thing as well. But Sinead O'Connor, rest in peace.
Yeah.
56 years old. 56 years old. Hey, shout out again to another one of our sponsors. I actually gave them a referral today, MCS General Contracting. I was on Facebook this morning, and we have this neighborhood page, and someone says, hey, does anybody know anybody who does concrete? I was like, as a matter of fact, I do. And I sent Chris Leha a photo of what they were looking at there, and it's a slab that's cracking, okay? And they need to figure out what's going on with it. So I said, hey, let me give you her contact information. Let me give you the company, the contact information as well. But MCS General Contracting does a fantastic job. Collectively, these three brothers have been in the business for 30 plus years. They do everything from slabs on residential properties to businesses. They can extend your driveways. They can create a driveway. They can do a parking lot for you. A lot of concrete services there. They can even do a swimming pool if they work with a swimming pool provider, if you will, but they do some of that business as well. Again, MCS General Contracting, the number on the screen, 210-774-9155, 210-774-9155. Concrete patios.
All right. It's one thing.
Extensions.
It's one thing to have a slab that's crack-a-lacking, but not one that's just cracking.
Yes.
You want to get that worked on.
Yes, exactly it. There's the number right there, 210-774-9155. It's one of those services that I think sometimes gets overlooked, and you don't know where to go to when it comes to this. I know that a lot of times you have houses that get built, and after about 5 or 6 years, things start to crack a little bit. Things need to be resurfaced, and sometimes you want to add to the driveway, and you want it to look good. That's the thing. You don't want to do it yourself, or you don't want to hire some dude that hire people who know what they're doing. And MCS General Contracting, again, 30 plus years of combined experience. They've been around since 2010. MCS General Contracting, 210-774-9155. Chris Leha, thank you again. I'll send you their contact information because, he's a big part of the show, but also I saw that this morning. I was like, I know people who do that.
Isn't it nice to be able to help just that quickly?
Yeah, it was.
That's cool.
Joined by Anthony Pittman, formerly of Fox San Antonio, formerly of Maximum Sports.
KABB, Maximum Sports.
That's how we know you, but you're also a John Jay graduate.
Yeah, I'm all San Antonio.
Karaoke King.
Not Karaoke King. Though I was trying to read, somebody wrote something. Was it a Tim Gonzalez?
Tim Gonzalez, probably.
Wrote something about karaoke
Right
and
here.
boy band.
Right here.
Oh my God. Are we going to tell this story about Park Place?
90s. Park Place. Did we do Step by Step?
We did.
That was one of
Kids
the
on
worst
Block.
performances ever.
We were
with Ernie Zuniga
and Joe Vithiathil.
Oh, Joey V. Yes.
And there was somebody else in the mix. And you guys were going up and down the stairs doing this song.
Oh, you weren't up there with us?
I was, but I was on the lower step.
Okay.
And therefore, I could only move up one step. But you guys were climbing up and down.
I remember. I think by the end of that song, we were getting booed.
Yes, we broke bro code big time.
Yeah,
there.
It was horrible.
Whose idea was that? That wasn't mine. That wasn't yours. That had been Joe's.
I think it was Ernie's.
Could have been Ernie's.
I think Ernie was all, step by step. I think he wanted us to go out there and do that.
Yeah, you were the Joey Mack of them all.
Was I the Joey Mack? I don't know. No. Joey Mack sings okay. I'd be more of the Danny can't sing, Donnie can't sing, John can't sing. I'd be one of
the fact that
it's a darn shame that I know the names.
So for those of you who don't know,
that's so bad.
For those of you who don't know, there was a time and there was a point in time from the years 2004 and 2005 where Pitt and I would hang out with Jordan Knight of New Kids on the Block.
It went up to 2007.
Yeah, and we would go out and have a cocktail or 9.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
We have the photos to prove it, but we don't have any camera phones, man. You know, if we did have cell phones back in the day that
I
had
wish we did.
cameras, we would have
We'd
a
have
lot
video.
more stuff.
We'd have video of some pretty good times.
Joined by
And they were all clean.
Anthony Pittman. Anthony Pittman having a great time over here.
Yeah,
you know,
thanks for having
let's
me
get
in
some
today.
more entertainment news.
Let's
This
do
one's kind of sports related because an NFL star tried to shoot his shot at Taylor Swift and finally admitted it. Talking about Travis Kelce, stud tight end of the Kansas City Chiefs. He has a podcast with his brother, Jason Kelce.
Yeah.
And he was saying, yeah, you know, she came to town. I had backstage passes. I wanted to go up and meet her, and I wanted to pass her my phone number to make this happen. And he never got the chance because her people came out and said, she just sang 40 some odd songs. She's got to rest her voice now. She doesn't want to meet anybody. So she's not going to be having conversations with people. So Kelce talked about the fact that he is kind of upset that he didn't get a chance to really legitimately go after who is now America's sweetheart.
Okay. Do you think she truly didn't want him in? Or do you think her team didn't even let her know, you know, another star was out there wanting to meet her?
That's what I think happened. I think if he had said, hi, I'm Super Bowl champion Travis Kelce, future Hall of Famer, could have made it happen. By the way,
I think she would already know who he is from that Chasing Kelce show. She just seems like she would know that.
Now, Travis Kelce is 33 years old. Taylor Swift is 33 years old.
Okay.
Only 2 months difference. So it's not like he's going after some young starlet, right? So she's 33 years old. Think about that. It's been around for a long time, but she does sing 40 plus songs out there. And it's amazing what she's doing. And the thing about it is this. I saw people on Twitter just completely go after Travis Kelce and go, you could do better. Really? Really? I mean, Taylor Swift is not unattractive. She's an attractive
she's
woman.
Pretty.
She's a very pretty woman. But here's the thing. You could do better. Travis Kelce makes $13 million a season, right? In the Eras Tour.
Oh,
Taylor Swift is making $13 million a night.
No. She's not getting $13 million a night, is she?
She is.
Like, for real?
For real. They say that by the end of this tour, she's probably going to clear $500 million on the U.S. leg alone, and then she's going to go to Europe and do it all over again. She's going to make $1 billion when it's all said and done over about an 18-month period.
Wow, so she doesn't need to be rolling around with that poor guy.
I know, $13 million.
He's poor. He lives in a shack compared to what she's living in.
She doesn't want to hang with the peasants, man.
I know. Let them eat cake.
Her tour is generating over $1 billion in revenue.
Man.
Over $1 billion in revenue. It's remarkable what she's doing. And by the way, T Swift's a badass, recording all her music all over again so that she could regain the rights to her songs.
Oh, that's why she's doing it?
Yeah. So basically what happened was if you sign as a minor to a record deal, you cannot own your masters.
Okay.
So what happened was she recorded a couple of albums when she was a minor, and then album 3, 4, and 5 when she was an adult. Well, the ones that she did under her first contract, she didn't own the masters to. So basically what happened was they were going to be going up for sale, and she told the people who were selling them, sell them to me. And they refused to sell them to her. And she says, okay, whatever you do, just don't sell it to this one promoter, because this one producer is always giving me crap online. He's always coming after me. He's always making fun of me.
Gotcha.
And that's the person that they sold them to. So her way of getting back, and part of this was Kelly Clarkson, who came out and said, you know what she should do? She should record all her stuff. That she is the kind of, she's petty enough to do that. She's bold enough to do that. And she's gone out there and has re-recorded all of her stuff all over again so that guy does not make the royalties that he could have made off of those first 5 albums.
And I guess if you're a Taylor Swift fan and you're like, okay, I know these songs, but maybe a second time around, they're going to sound a little different. I'll buy them,
there's a little bit of a
tap
difference.
into it because there might be just some tweaks to it.
The voice at 16 versus the voice at 32, it is different, guys and girls. But she does pretty good. Like I've gone into like her hit songs, and I've gone back to the old ones, the original, and then the quote unquote Taylor version. It's not as noticeable of a difference where you're like, you can't enjoy it.
Okay.
You know, it's not so far off. I mean, she's so good at what she does, and the technology is also there to make you sound softer or harder if you need to. But she's a bit of a badass. People reaching out saying, Chris Lehal says, maybe Moneybags has a chance with her. Moneybags being Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's Five.
With that top hat, he does.
Yes, with that top hat, he has a chance to go after.
He should get a real top hat because I want to see the real thing.
There it is right there. Do you know the story behind us calling him Moneybags?
No, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was going to talk to you about it today.
So he called me the other day. This was a few weeks ago, and we were on Zoom. And, you know, we're having a nice conversation. You know, he lives in San Antonio and in New York. He'll be moving to San Antonio this summer. And he's from
that makes the Moneybags alone right there.
He's from here.
Okay.
But he lives in New York, and we're on a Zoom just talking to each other, having a great time. Great conversation. And all of a sudden you hear like a doorbell ring. And he goes, oh, give me 1 second. My food's here. And then he goes and grabs his food. He comes back and he sits down, and we're just talking to each other on a Zoom. And I'm seeing what he's eating because it's not like a burger and fries. Because whenever I get Uber Eats, it's a burger, it's a fries, it's Chinese food. And I'm like, what are you eating? And it was a French steak.
A French steak?
Yeah.
I don't even know what a French steak is.
Oh, and it was delivered on a silver
platter.
Like literally on a silver platter. Not with one like with the bowl on the top, you take it off. And
it may as well have had
not
that.
like that.
He had a full-on steak dinner. And I said, you're having steak? And the look on his face was, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to live this one down. And this whole thing about Moneybags has been going on for 3 or 4 weeks at this point.
Nice.
And now all the memes have come out, the top hat, all of that.
But tell him how juicy the steak was.
Oh, yes. You got to use the word moist. It was that moist.
Well, if it is, it would have been awesome, though, had the Uber Eats driver, dropped it on his table and stood there next to him with the towel on his arm while he's eating.
It was
until he was finished.
It was off camera. It was off camera.
Your order, my liege.
I like that.
Hey, before we go, a little bit of an update on a story we talked about a few weeks ago. Sarah Forgani of Channel 5. She's a friend of mine.
Friend of mine as well.
She is somebody that we've been all worried about. She is back behind the anchor desk at Ken's 5 doing the morning shows all over again. She had been off the air for a few months. Scary incident that happened when she was overseas, and she was going in and out of the hospital, ICU. She was on a vent for a while, and everyone's asking the question, what is going on? She revealed that it was because of a heart failure. And that's so scary because she's a young woman. She's been in San Antonio for so long. She's from the Houston area, if I'm not mistaken. I've got to know her and her husband over the years. She was a coworker of mine. She was a coworker of your wife as well.
Yes.
But it was very scary. And to see those stories about her getting out of the hospital and going back into the hospital and getting out and going back in, I just want to say that I'm just so glad that she is back, and hopefully her health has returned to the point where there's nothing that pops up in the future. But she's a very young woman, suffered from a bout of heart failure. I don't know how else to say it. Don't know how or why it happened, but fact of the matter is that she's a very, very good person. She's very good at what she does, and I've admired her for a long, long time, because when you get to work with somebody, you get to see kind of their true selves. And I found that she was one of the hardest working people I ever saw at Ken's 5.
That's good. That's good to hear. I had the opportunity to initially meet her doing a bowling fundraising event, and she was super nice from the first time I met her. And in fact, I just assumed that she wasn't going to be as nice as she was, because sometimes you see some folks on TV and, even though we worked on TV, you might come across some egos. And she was egoless, and she was super kind, and just had nice things to say. And you don't always see that. That just struck a chord with me in such a positive way.
That was the thing. Sarah Forgani, no ego. She was somebody who hosted an event that my kids' PTA put on years ago, and she didn't forget. She showed up, was on time, and I was startled that she didn't forget about it. And on top of that, last minute, a couple of years ago, I asked her to help. There was a Catholic church that needed to have an MC for a fundraiser,
Mm-hmm.
and it was over at UIW. And it was last minute. I just said, Sarah, I know it's last minute. And she goes, I'll be there.
Got it.
And she was there. She did a fantastic job emceeing the event and publicizing her new station as well, because this is part of public relations, going out there and say, hi, I'm Sarah Fergani with Ken's 5 morning show. Watch us, starting at 5 a.m. all the way to whatever. And she does a very, very good job. And I've enjoyed her work over the years and getting to know her personally over time. And I'm not saying that we're besties or we're good friends or anything like that, but the times I have interacted with her and that I have worked with her, I've been very, very happy to work with her, very happy to see her, very happy to see that she is somebody that doesn't have an ego, that works her ass off. Sarah Fergani, I'm just glad that she's back at work.
Yeah, and I love the fact that my wife loves her.
Yeah.
So that's a win right there. Sarah has texted my wife on occasions, things that happen in television, and being very supportive. And she's a good woman. And to think that the fight back to health began overseas, it's tough enough to do it here on U.S. soil, but to be sick overseas, what a fighter.
Yeah.
What a fighter. So I hope every day gets better and better for you, Sarah.
Count your blessings, because you never know when something might happen health-wise, and Sarah Fergani is evidence of that. She's back behind the anchor desk, and I'm very, very happy to see her all over again. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Awesome.
Joe Garcia produced today's show. My name is Mike Jimenez. Anthony Pittman, thanks for being with us.
I'm still reading stuff on the screen here. Thanks for having me.
And we had a studio audience today because my nephew Nathan was here as well.
He's been on his phone the whole time looking down. I don't think he's watched or heard any of this show. He's probably going to say, hey, when do you guys start?
Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the like button on the way out and subscribe to us on Spotify as well. We'll be back tomorrow.